Yo, what it do, kinfolk and skin folk? For the newbies, y'all are in the right place. And for those who've been here before, the family and friends, y'all already know this is the Life Be Lifing podcast. Tonight, as usual, we are hosted by the dynamic, the funny, the witty, the versatile, the squishy gangster, Big Mish, aka Mimi, goddess. And we are
Yo,
joined
yo.
tonight. We are joined tonight by a special guest, man. Somebody who I was in these coaching trenches with, man. Like this war that we fighting for the youth and their souls and their lives and their brains and all that is a real deal. And this is one of the dudes I was out there getting it with. You feel me? Um, you feel me? So, he's on a different level now, doing something a little different. So we got to get into that tonight. But man, Coach Juwan Muse, man, thank you for coming through.
My pleasure, always a pleasure.
All right, and they are flanked by none other than your favorite freckle man, aka your favorite coach's favorite coach, the big dog himself. Who? Splash Charles. Yeah, yeah. We are here tonight, family. We are gathered here today to have a special conversation. We've been having a couple of different sports conversations, you know what I'm saying, and having, comes from different angles of speculation. But tonight we're gonna tackle it from the coaching perspective tonight, man. Starting off, man, Meesh, you sent me a couple of joints that was crazy. I seen a couple of joints that was crazy where, it's not easy getting through to these kids, especially the bigger and older ones. Um, but these coaches are putting hands on kids. These coaches are threatening kids' safety, inviting them to fight. From the outside in, and being as though, like you said, you don't have no kids, but you do have an investment in a kid who's in a sport. Like that's like your protege, your little niece. So from the outside in, what does that look like to you, Mish? How do you feel about it?
It's funny because
Because you played sports too, so
actually
you know how coaching goes. You know how
I do,
receiving
and
coaching goes.
I do, and I will say the athlete and or parents were a big part of the reason why I stopped coaching and whatnot because it can be problematic sometimes. People, don't really know themselves and their attitudes and how they come off about things, and it can be very frustrating. But when you're, you know, giving that type of energy back in return, it's really not helpful to the situation. And back then, I really didn't know how to do anything but match energy, as they say these days. So I decided it was the best for me to step away before things escalated and it became something more than I was really willing and prepared to deal with. Because these people will test your gangster, and these kids sometimes are worse than their parents now. Um, and it's funny because one of the things that I was telling, I'll just refer to her as my protege. Um, I literally did not have an investment in sports for the longest time because of that specific reason. But kind of like seeing her drive and passion and her want to get to the next level, knowing like the area of expertise I had, I was kind of compelled to kind of help her, right? And like I found myself getting frustrated with her coach, and the AAU and high school. So I can see how it can happen, but at the same time, it's like when you are doing this service, because that's what you're doing when you're coaching. It's a service to these players.
Yes.
You can't do a disservice by kind of, imposing your disposition on them, regardless of what they do to ignite the fire, and fan the flames of, fire that they ignite themselves. But um, I know now that she is playing at a collegiate level, she's had a few struggles. And, I've had to be on a coaching call with her coaches and folks. And my sister, who I employ, literally pay her to do mentoring because I kind of wanted to take that backseat role and just be auntie, right? I didn't want to keep telling her how to progress in collegiate level sports. because I can say all day, well, when I was at Pitt and when I used to do this and when I do that, and it sounds like nagging. But when it comes from someone like my sister, who's a athletic trainer, pre-physical therapist, she's a personal trainer, nutritionist, she working with college athletes, high school athletes, it's like, okay, I can remove myself from that part and we can have a familial relationship and I'm gonna leave her to the professional business side of things. So, and my protege, I see a lot of myself in her, and I see where she can pretty much probably put a coach on edge just by the way she kind of like has nonchalant vibes and always feeling like there's a rebuttal needed and there's an excuse for everything, So it's like we had this call. I kind of had to say, hey, look, stop. You need to take responsibility for your shit. You need to own it. You need to kind of start being a little more cognizant of your ways and how you're moving. And because her problem was she wanted to be a regular student, but an athlete at the same time. And we all know in college it don't work like that. It
Nope.
just don't. I warned her. I said playing at the collegiate level is very different. They own you. They pretty much paying for your time. You they on their dime, and you got to do what they want you to do. So some of those luxuries of being a regular college student is just not afforded to you.
Right.
And I think she thought that I was just capping until she got there. She really realized ain't no cap in my rap. Like I be speaking all facts. So we had this whole little meeting, and they, had to put her on probation, and it was just kind of like an off-book probation, like to make her shape up. And if that ain't straighten her right on up, but it's like some of the comments made by the coach kind of stuck with me, and I literally said, huh, some of this shit is gonna be held against her. And in
Mm.
her talking to my sister on a daily basis, and some of the good days versus the bad days, we went up there to visit her, and she kind of made it seem like she thought the head coach might have kind of didn't really like her. And I was like, does it matter? I said, listen, anytime a coach stops talking to you, that's when you need to worry. So if she's still on your case, yelling at you, making an example of you, you really not as bad off as you think. Once she stops talking to your ass, then you need to worry. And she was like, and then my sister was like, well, why do you care about her opinion? Are you there to play sports? Or are you there to be liked? So it's kind of like having those conversations with kids is one thing. But I will say, in some of the examples she has been given, I'm kind of like, ooh, that can look very bad on a coach's part, the way she's responding. Because I think one of the things was they were doing these hype videos for Media Day. And she was kind of saying, the coach didn't, let her get in the videos. It was kind of was like, no, you stand off to the side. So it made her feel away to where she got emotional about it.
Mm.
And from the outside looking in, it looked like that's kind of bad on the coach's part. But then my sister, from the professional standpoint, was like, you don't know why the coach did that. Maybe she feels like, there's always a need to be seen. Maybe she feels like it's always the fun for her and she wants her to be a little more focused on, the work and not the fun. So I was like, you gotta see both sides of the fence, but sometimes I do feel like these coaches be taking a lot of shit personally and taking it out on these kids, and they get tuned up unnecessarily. Like, but you just kind of gotta sit back and watch and see how a lot of that kind of stuff unfolds.
I feel all that. I feel all that. Before Coach Juwan get in his bag, I can, we've coached some of the same kids. So one of the things I can say that I know has happened for him, and I know it's happened for me, that moment that comes when you as an adult have to remind yourself that you the adult here, and because if not, you're gonna end up tussling with somebody's child because they've gone too far. They've taken the love and the exceptional care that you extended to
Mm-hmm.
them. And it's cool for you to look at us as a big bro, but look at us as the big bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not big bro in your crib that y'all like to tussle and wrestle with. Like big bro. Like I'm trying to make things happen for you. And they got a lot going on in their lives sometimes, or a lot of emotions, what I'm saying, that's going on with them. But then sometimes it's like really like they trying you, and it's like, yo, if you was like 3 years older, I'd have punched the shit out you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
some
had a
gang
couple of
shit.
those at the creek.
You know what
Lord,
I'm saying?
had a couple of those. Lord,
So,
I don't
so
miss
it,
them days.
I don't miss that at all. I don't miss that part. I miss everything else. But those days when those couple of kids get out of hand and you just be like, you be praying to God like that when you tell them leave the gym, that they leave and that they don't be out there when you leave. And not out there like they gonna shoot nothing up or nothing scary like that. But you just hoping they not looking for an actual fight
Yeah.
because if they still out there
But
when you
but
leave,
but what's crazy though? What's crazy is, and it bothers me that he's no longer here. But I would have went outside and wrestled with Hiram because he just wanted to wrestle.
yeah, yeah,
He didn't really want to fight. He just wanted to wrestle.
yeah. He wants to get
And
physical. He had to
and
spend the
he
energy.
and after that, he gonna give you a hug and tell you he love you, and it's okay. Like,
That's a fact.
Yeah.
I miss those kids. I
Right.
miss I miss that I miss that feeling, and I miss those kids, and I miss what came after the bullshit where we went, and I'm like, yo, I'm ready to kill this nigga, but I love him, but like this
Be
motherfucker
like
crazy.
that. Be like that.
So
So
yeah,
yeah. From your standpoint, both as like I said, like he said, we from Cobbs Creek, we coaches from Cobbs Creek. That's where we got our start. So you know what I mean, Creek strong. We that like that's home for us.
yeah,
Um,
people don't really understand that.
yeah,
So
I'm about to say it's a
it's
different thing. It's hard for me to even try to explain. Like it's one of the things you got to be there for. You know what I mean?
you had to be in them Saturday morning. Ain't no heat in the gym.
Sweat box,
It's raining in the gym.
Oh man, sometimes.
Summertime, it's 115 degrees in there.
and we in there at least twice a day. At least twice a day.
And, and, and it ain't no stores within 15 minutes. You gotta go to 69th Street to go to the
Gotta get.
store and come back.
No.
Yeah, like it's a whole nother different energy, and we gotta go win a championship. And
And
yeah, like
but
because
it made us who we are from players to coaches. Um,
it definitely gave me an understanding of we either getting ready to go out here and punch somebody in the face, or we getting ready to go out here and get punched in the face. Like it because those are the type of kids we had. We ain't have the good kids that mom and dad was at home, and they sent them to the park with a Gatorade and some pocket money. We ain't had those kids. We
Yeah,
had the
I ain't had them
mom
kids
is at
either.
home. Mom is at home. Young boy came to the gym with his gun in his bag, and when he leave, we don't know what he's gonna go do. But while he's with us, he's playing basketball.
I'm glad they were younger. I had the top.
But this is
there's a
14,
couple of them
15,
situations.
16.
14, I about to say, a couple of
This is
kids at 14.
14. This is
Nah,
this
when
is
I say
eighth
tops,
grade.
I mean six to 10. Like
This
that
is
was all
this is
I had.
literally because we had the same group from like
Right.
sixth grade all the way
All
through.
the
All the way
way
out.
up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All the
Same
way
group
up.
of kids. And I'll never forget. And I'm actually now that I'm a little bit more seasoned as a coach, I couldn't do this again. But
I wouldn't
I
do this again.
and I
Woo,
wish I
Jesus.
could
They
find
make
this
you feel
kid
like
and
that.
tell listen, I wish I could find this kid and tell him that I'm sorry. Because
Oh,
I should not have done this. But I
Oh,
actually had to tell the kid, maybe basketball just isn't for you.
maybe for you. I've been there.
And I didn't want to tell him that, but maybe it's not for you.
Yeah.
We all
It ain't
not
for
going to play
everybody.
college basketball. We're all not going to
And
play varsity.
yeah.
listen, I
Maybe
don't feel bad about having told kids that. I don't feel bad
See,
at all.
I
Not
don't
told both.
either. I don't either.
I only feel bad because at this point I understand that for some people the ball stops bouncing in ninth grade.
That's a fact.
I realize that now. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that then.
Got you.
So when
Okay.
you're 14 and all your friends are playing basketball and you got the same thought process as your friends, and your friends is getting ready to go play varsity and you're not even about to play JV, and here I come, Coach Juan, that's trying to show you something that you've never seen before. And I'm looking at you and I'm saying, kid, your mom wasted her money on them sneakers, man. I don't know.
Not on them sneakers.
it's not translated because you saying, man, I'm just trying to go play with my friends. I'm here because my mom dropped me off.
Yep.
It's definitely a lot of cases like that.
But we trying to win a championship, and I ain't got time.
Yeah. So it's like, what do you do in those instances?
So what I've found is I've had to become 14-year-old Juwan again that wasn't really good at basketball, but I wanted to play. I had to become that guy again and remember that at
Yeah.
some point I couldn't make a left hand layup. At some point I couldn't dunk. At some point I just wasn't good at basketball. I was better at hockey next door than I was at basketball. So I had to remember how that felt when I wasn't that good and I wanted to be that good. The only difference
Right.
was I told myself I'm gonna be better than everybody else around me at
Yeah.
some point because I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna stop till I get there, and I have to instill that work ethic in the kids that I'm around. I
Yeah.
have to do everything in me to instill that in those kids. And what's crazy is what is it now? 10 years, almost 10 years later,
Yeah.
most of those kids they not playing basketball no more, but they're
Majority
productive
of them.
young adults, and that's all I can ask for.
That's where
Right.
the winners.
Yep.
That's all. I feel like the structure that we gave them as basketball coaches and as men set them down a path that they will be successful as young adults versus successful as basketball players.
It's
Right.
a
And
fact.
that's the win. That's the win.
That's where the winners.
And I feel like that's not held on tight enough. I feel like that missing that is missing so much in youth sports because it's all about winning a championship.
Yeah.
Now,
Yep.
I will be honest. I had to step away from youth sports because of the parents,
Same here.
and it became a thing where as though we're Cobbs Creek, we can't be team final.
Why is that?
We don't have Nike uniforms.
We just can't beat them. We don't have what it takes to beat them. We don't
It's
have the
not gonna happen.
support. Like,
Got you.
But then we also had this parent, and this parent drove me crazy. My son's going to Roman, and he's gonna play varsity in the ninth grade, and I don't care what you say. My kid's gonna
What's
be
up?
all public, and I'm sitting there like, no,
No, he's not.
no, he's not.
Nah.
He's not. He might not even make the freshman team, let alone varsity. We ain't. What are we talking about here?
I tell you, these parents definitely have more belief in the skills of their kids than the kids do themselves sometimes.
But if you actually speak to these kids, they know they're not that good.
Exactly.
some of them do.
They know.
Some of them
They
do.
have a clear understanding of where they are and where they aren't.
Yeah.
It's the delusional ass parents who don't have an understanding
Yeah.
and want us to be more than what we are in our space as youth coaches. Like we've literally dropped the kid off
Yo.
at his mom's house, and his mom is like, "Well, how many points did you score today?" And he like, "None." And she
Zero.
looking at us like, "Well, what the fuck was y'all doing?"
What y'all doing wrong?
like, I was coaching. I don't know what he was doing, but I was coaching. He was standing next to me. What do you want from me? I don't know. Like it's a little different now.
Oh,
Now
man.
this is the
Good
flip side
time.
of that. Now as a prep school slash post grad coach, right? I have
And please, 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 we don't do nothing small on here. So you're not just gonna say a prep school. You're gonna drop the name.
so as the head coach in well as the head administrator and head coach of
Go.
TriState Prep,
There
There
we
we go.
go. There we go.
I now have to deal with kids that think that they're Division 1 basketball players, Division 2 basketball players, Division 3 basketball players, or junior college basketball players.
Mm,
Nobody wants to be a junior college basketball player.
Facts.
Nobody wants to be a D3 basketball player.
Facts.
yeah.
Some people want to be a D2 basketball player, but everybody wants to be a Division
Be
One
D1.
basketball
Yeah.
player.
Everybody want to be D1. Yep.
Do you understand how impossible that is?
it's a feat, and I don't think people, again, no shade, no shade on T, but it was like, listen, sweetheart, you behind the curve, you behind the eight ball, you
But
good, but the rank, you not there. Like, yeah, you won defensive player of the year, but your coaches wasn't doing enough to make sure you was put out there like that. And it just so happens because some kids have folks like me and, supportive parents in their corner. It's like the in connections, because I'll say, let's just say she has a connection, right? Someone, her uncle worked for ESPN. He made her highlight reel, sent that to their connection. It got down to Final Four. The coach of the school she at saw it and was like, I need her. She went up there for a visit. They offer her for a scholarship. But there's a whole nother story behind that. In a rebuilding season for this school, the old coach stepping down, the assistant coach stepping up. So it's looking like you can make plays because you trying to build your little dynasty. Had it been any other way, might not have been as successful for her. And it's like, please understand, your opportunity is one in a million. So, like, don't be taking that for granted. And I think a lot of kids, like, because I remember telling her, you need to watch First Chance U. And it was like, but why? That see, you already thinking small. Gotta think big, bitch. Like, thinking small. Like, you need to
now
watch it to understand how some of these players. I just watched something on the gram today about this young man talking about how he was D1 and now
I
he got to
saw
go off
that.
to JUCO. Yeah, that's
I
like,
saw that. He goes to
it's just that
Lackawanna. I just
simple.
saw that.
Yep,
I
yep.
just saw
It's
that.
just
Yep.
that simple. You could be all the way out of there. Oh, some dumb shit.
Now what's crazy is we lose my man.
No, he just cut his camera off
Oh,
for a
okay.
second.
So now what's crazy is I got guys that want to play Division 1 basketball but don't have Division 1 basketball grades.
And
Then I
they
got
don't
guys.
understand. Problematic.
I got guys. They don't understand that a Division 1 scholarship on the low end is $150,000 on the low end.
Yes.
So you're $150,000 investment.
And that's why when I took my protege, to see my sister for an athletic assessment, because watching her play, I'm like, yeah, you're good, but you could be better. You are good because you go to training. Like, one of the things I did was made sure, I fronted some training classes for her, right? Because they switched her position her senior year, which was kind of ass. But I was like, you're up for the challenge. Trust me, you can do this. And, she did it, dominated, and she got, again, Defensive Player of the Year. But if she wasn't in training, would that have been the case? No. So it's
Hmm.
like, listen, but it's like you still need other work. You don't lift, your endurance sucks because you ain't got your cardio together. And this is me just talking from Demisha, 99, at Pitt with the women's basketball team, getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning for conditioning, having two-a-days with practice, training table. You don't get it. This is like this one little practice a day in high school ain't gonna cut it, baby. And like, my sister doing her mobility test and all of that, I just was like, you ain't telling me nothing I didn't know, but I wanted her to understand this, and I wanted her to have this information to take to school and say, here's where I am. I need to get better. I need to
Right.
level up from here. These are, my problem areas. I'm probably gonna be in training table a couple times a week until I get this together. All form. All form. My sister
So
literally said, you understand you are on their dime. You work for them. They're investing in you. And I literally don't think she understood the severity of that comment and what it really meant
none
till
of
she
them did.
got there and
Exactly.
it was rules in place. Like, you on my time, on my dime. I was like, God,
I think what a lot of them miss is like you can be stuck in D3 and be a good basketball player, like really good.
yeah, like phenomenal.
But they all think because they don't play on ESPN they're not good.
Yes.
Mm,
And they all think
yeah,
because they play in the public league in Philadelphia or the Catholic League in Philadelphia
There
that
you go.
they are the end all be all.
the
Yes.
And
elite.
that's not true
Yeah,
at all.
I played in the championship game for such and such.
I just had that conversation today.
yeah.
I got a kid that played for West Philly High when they went to the championship last year.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what do you think a coach gives a fuck about the fact that you played in the championship game in the public league and you can't make a jump shot in prep school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sets you back. Like y'all mentioned
Yeah.
last chance you, which is a perfect example, right? Because you saw the clips of all them from before they got there. You know,
Yep. Yep.
Joe, I forgot the other kid name from Maryland. He was the he was a borderline McDonald's All American. He was a five
What?
star.
What?
He was
Yes.
a 5-star recruit in high school.
So this is what I love about prep school basketball. Because of the connections that I have, and because I've been doing this for the last almost 4 years now, I've I've garnered some respect from my peers. So I'm able to get the AZ Compass and the West Town tournaments and the Mount
Hmm.
Zions and the St. Benedict's and the
Mm,
uh, I'm able to get the schools that are the schools on the East Coast. And AZ Compass is in freaking Arizona. Like, and they're like a
mm,
top 10, they're a top 10 school this year.
mhm.
Hmm.
For lack of a better term, I'm taking a bunch of little niggas from the hood in Delaware and Philadelphia to go
Mhm.
play against a bunch of motherfuckers that's gonna be getting paid in the next 5 years to play basketball. What do you think you need to do to be successful to succeed in that arena? Is the question.
Yeah.
And why aren't we already pushing our kids to be better so they don't have to get there to have to succeed in a place that's actually set up to make sure that they fail?
Fail.
Mm.
That's the question.
Yeah.
That's the bigger question that's never being answered.
I mean,
You're not gonna send a kid to West Town, for example. You're not gonna send a kid to West Town and not equip him what he needs to be successful at West Town. But we keep sending kids to West Philly High, Overbrook, Lamberton, Bartram, with nothing that they need to succeed but a pair of sneakers and a trans pass.
Yep.
yeah. I
And
think
then
it's.
and then and then look at the kids and say it's their fault.
Yep.
I was just about to say it's a lack of understanding on the parents' part because you think just because you drop a kid in the sport, and let's just say they start playing in sixth grade and then they reach ninth grade, that doesn't mean that their skill is progressing. It just means they did enough to get by. And what are you as a parent doing to help them progress? Because it's almost like I equated to these parents that got their kids in debutante balls, pageants, and shit like that. It takes
Yes.
money. It takes time.
Yes.
Like I will. One thing I'll say about my proteges, folks, is like they invested in her.
Mm-hmm.
They invested in her. Um, and I know a lot of kids don't have that opportunity or the ability isn't there. But there literally are some parents that they can. They just don't see the necessity in it. But then they want to, you know, scrap about why your kid isn't good, why your kid isn't getting playtime. What are you doing to help your child get better, to get playtime? Nothing. You're pretty much giving them a new pair of Jordans, practice gear,
Hmm.
and you sending them maybe to a Nike camp in the summertime where it's like hundreds of thousands of students there and they're all at different levels and they're probably not really getting anything out of it. It's not a specialized camp. You're not putting them with a trainer. Like that kind of stuff
Listen,
is imperative.
every year, every year, and I haven't coached at the AAU level for years, but
I have.
every year there are kids going to AAU, traveling to play basketball, and they're not good enough to win a tournament in their backyard.
Nope.
Every year,
Even
every
with
year you have
EYBL,
kids. Yes, yes. Every
some of the shit
every
that I
year,
used to see.
EYBL, Adidas, Nike, wherever it is, has kids. that parents have paid
Money.
hundreds,
Come on.
thousands of dollars
And they
for their
traveling to
kids.
these games with these
Like,
kids to watch them play.
But
now,
it's worse on my level though. It's
I'm
the
about to
same.
I
say,
can imagine.
now
It,
at the
it
prep school level, it's a different nightmare.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
a
different
yeah.
nightmare at
We
the
got a
prep
lot of
school
prep
level,
schools
right?
in DC area, so I already know these
so
private schools, prep schools,
Because by then, parental
beast.
involvement is completely removed.
Hmm.
The
so this
expectations are still on the coaches, but the
Okay, I'm
involvement
about to
is
say.
non-existent.
Okay,
so this is the reality of post
because they think
prep
it's
slash
elite.
post grad basketball.
There it is.
This is the reality of it. The reality is you are supposed to be a college freshman in your prep or post grad year.
Hmm.
You're supposed to be.
Yep,
Nobody said you were ready to be, but you're supposed to be.
supposed to be. Yep, yep.
So my job is to make you ready,
Right.
ready in what, 8, 9 months?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's not just on the court. Because unlike last year, I got high school students. So I
You
got to
got high
get you
school
ready in
students
the
now.
classroom. I got to get you ready in the classroom. I got to get you ready socially. And I got to make sure you're coachable.
Too much.
All at the same time. Forget about your homie that just got shot. You ain't got nothing to eat. You've been wearing the same shorts and sneakers and t-shirts for the last 3 weeks. Your girl might be pregnant.
And it might not be yours.
It might not be
And it
yours.
might not be yours.
You ain't got nowhere to get to and from practice. And you gotta pay tuition. And you gotta pay to get on this plane because we gotta go to Arizona in a couple weeks. And on top of that, I still expect you to play extremely hard.
Hmm.
And I don't want to hear no excuses.
Yep.
And and you better be on time.
Yeah. And I think this is where the topic of tonight's conversation comes into play, where coaches get frustrated because they're battling against all of these odds that the athlete is, dealing with. And that's really not always translated to the coaches. So sometimes when all of that is like surmounting and that athlete's frustration comes out, the coach is like, fuck is you talking to? Not knowing what's going on. However, is that the right way to respond though? A lot of these
It's
coaches
never the
been
right way to work.
It's
been
not.
flying off the
It's never.
handle. Like they, it's like Nyreen always, and I always say you got KYP, got to know your personnel. So it's like, what are coaches doing now to kind of get to know their players? Like one of the things I loved about watching Last Chance U was how the coach made a concerted effort to really get to know those athletes to the point where when he found out one young man had autism, he was like, why the fuck ain't nobody tell me this? Like, you'd have been passed, now it makes sense. You'd have been passed through all of these schools. This last coach that sent you my way didn't say shit about this. Had I known this was a problem for you, I would have been able to deal with you differently and we wouldn't be having this back and forth battle that, ends in us being almost at odds and blows with one another. So it's like, is it the coach's fault that they're not getting, down in the weed of things with the athlete? Or is it the athlete's fault because he doesn't divulge that information? Or is it both because no one feels comfortable
So
broaching those
It's the adults.
subjects and situations?
it's the adults.
It's
So this
primarily
is
the
the
adults'
reality.
fault. They fail these kids. The adults have failed these kids for years and years and years and years and
Agreed.
years. So by the time that I get them, it's a struggle. Much less by the time Juan gets them.
Mm.
Much, you know what I'm saying? Like by the time, if you catch a coach, like how me and Juan were, right? If you catch one of us, you're lucky
Yeah.
because it's not good enough for us to just see you on the court. We pull up to your schools.
Right.
We pull over when we see you on the street. We the person, if we see your mama in the market, hey, so forth and so on.
But
You know what I'm
do you
saying?
think that's because of y'all background and where y'all come from and the level of
Absolutely.
mentorship? Yeah, and see,
Absolutely.
everybody don't got that. There's a lot of coaches that don't have that. Like for me, I was cool with doing that because I was mentored. I still talk to my mentor to this day at
But
42
that's
years
the
old.
key word, mentor. A lot of coaches just coach. They
Yeah,
don't mentor. They just coach. Like Juan said earlier, we here to get a championship. So when that kid fly off the handle, bro, this not championship talk. What is you talking to? If you're not talking about helping me get this championship, which is crazy, right? Because as a coach talking about them helping me get this championship,
right.
they start to treat kids different. You know what I'm saying? It's a divide in the team now. Now the team
Yeah,
not no family. It's the kids that can play, the kids that
and the
can't.
kids that can't.
So let me give you a little bit of perspective. This year, I've decided that I actually decided that I wasn't coaching this year. Like I set my feet in the sand. I'm doing administrative work.
And that's it.
No headaches. I have 21 players.
Mm,
Everybody can't play on one team.
can't.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Literally
I
not allowed.
sat, I
Right.
sat and I watched. I sat and I watched my players' faces at the end of the bench, and I said, "Damn, I can't do this to these guys. I can't do this to these guys. I got to give them a chance." Coach Juwan back active again.
Can't help yourself.
So I haven't had but one practice. One. Before the first game, I had zero practices. Um, 26 points. We down 26 points at halftime. 26 points.
That's bad.
But 3 overtimes, we lost by 2
Mm,
with no
Okay.
practice,
that's a fight.
no
Yeah.
sets, no nothing. Today, same team. They beat my national team.
Mm.
Pushed them the entire practice. What's the difference?
You
The
won
only
though.
difference. The only difference. My prep school team versus my post grad team. My prep school team, they like, man, fuck this shit. We know what this shit look like now. All we gotta do is play hard. My post grad team, like, oh no, y'all drawing, y'all doing too much. No, they not. They just playing harder than y'all.
Hmm.
Y'all don't understand that level of the. You gotta play hard all the time.
All
All
the
the
time.
time. You always gotta go all out.
Life be lifing. You gotta go hard all the time.
All the time.
What we talking about? If you're not going hard, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, what you here for? What you on?
If you're not going to run through the wall and figure it out, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point?
We used to tell
So,
guys all the time, you allowed to have a bad game when you're working hard.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Like
all
so
if the
they
numbers
tell you.
don't match, if the numbers don't match your effort, that's cool. They gonna notice your effort. You go 0 for
so
12 and you busting your ass the whole night.
Hmm.
Somebody noticed you was busting your ass the whole night.
so
Right.
we get the 2 videos back, 2 highlight videos back. My my post grad players, they like our video don't look like y'all video look. They fought for that. Y'all didn't fight as hard as they did, so y'all not gonna look like how they look.
Facts.
It's always about the fight.
It's only about how hard you gonna fight. If you're not gonna fight hard, what's the point?
What's the
Yeah.
point?
Just
What's the
leave it.
point?
Leave. Just
And I
leave it be. Just go on about your business.
but the trickle down is at home nobody's fighting for you. All
Ooh.
through high school nobody fought for you.
Yeah.
Now you at TriState Prep, and my energy from day one is I'm gonna fight with
I'm
you. I'm gonna
fight for
fight
you.
for you, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight with you. That's my energy from day one.
Yeah.
As soon as you meet me, my energy is so what we gotta do to get you where you need to be. if we can't rumble together, if you not gonna rumble, I'm gonna show you how to rumble. And then after you get finished learning, then you're gonna be able to stand and fight on your own. But you gotta fight. If you're
Yeah.
not gonna fight, what's the point?
You gotta stand up every day,
But
every
these
time.
kids are so used to people not fighting for them that when they see it, it's weird to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird. It's the way I was taught how to coach, the way I was taught how to mentor is weird to these kids because they're not used to people fighting for them.
Or sometimes it's always just simply about them not wanting to be held accountable for certain things.
But being held accountable, the only people that's gonna hold you accountable is the people that love you, people that
Exactly.
care,
Exactly.
people
Exactly.
that
And
care,
they don't have
and
people to really care and love them.
that's the problem.
Yep.
That is 100% the issue in our community. I can buy you stuff, I can pacify you all night and all day, but if I love you, I'm gonna hold you accountable.
Yep.
I'm gonna make
And
you. I'm
that's
gonna make
crazy to
you
me.
the best version of yourself that I
Yes.
can, that I see. Regardless of what you see, I'm still gonna fight for you to make you the best version that I possibly can, and that's what's missing.
Right. Mm.
And let me
Mm.
tell you, when you have that kind of coach, that's what takes those volatile and possibly violent situations and they end up with positive outcomes, like how Coach Juwan mentioned later. That after all that bullshit dies down, it usually ends in a hug, like a heartfelt hug. It don't matter if that
Yeah.
kid is 5'4" or 6'7". That's how you end up with this kid who like the toughest person on the team, burying their head in your chest, wetting your shirt or your sweatshirt with their tears.
Yeah.
And
Because you gave them something that they wasn't getting nowhere else.
I feel like I feel like at this point where we are as people, as men and as mentors, and as women as mentors, I feel like people expect so much from youth sports. They expect
Oh
they
wow.
expect to
Yes.
gain they expect to gain material things from youth sports.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm.
And gaining the material things from youth sports, that's not what matters. That's not the meat and
Mm.
potatoes of it. And because nobody is reaching for the meat and potatoes, they just reaching for the material. That's why
Right.
things look the way they do in youth sports.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's why coaches is grabbing kids by the neck and choking them up, and
And
I'm trying
all
to
in their
beat this kid
face.
up.
Yeah.
That's why that's happening. And I'll be 100% honest. I've gotten in the kid's face before and had to have a conversation with a kid about respect and doing what he needed to do to be who he needed to be. I've had that. That's happened to me. It's happened to me. But I also understand that it's a time and a place. You looking at somebody, I got kicked out of the number 5 ranked prep school in the country 2 years ago. I think they said, Juwan, you gotta go. I literally kicked the chair. You gotta go.
Mm.
But I understand that as emotional as I get, I still have a face that I have to maintain in front of these kids. I still have a
Right.
face that I have to maintain in front of these white people that they cut the check. I have to maintain this face. I have to. I have to. I can't lose my temper. Case in point, year before last at West Ham, broke my car key, was stuck at Westchester for hours. I lost my shit, but it had. But I lost my shit because at the end of the day, I love my players, and I didn't feel like we was playing hard enough, and it was frustrating because I'm saying to myself, "Do y'all know where y'all at? Do y'all know? Do y'all have any idea who y'all playing in front of right now? Y'all out here not
Mm.
playing hard. Y'all not fighting. I'm standing over here. I wish I could put a jersey on.
You want it more than they do, and that's so harsh.
I
That's
want
so
this.
hard. That is so hard.
I need this. Cause I know what this gonna do for you.
For you, exactly. We don't need it for us. We need it for them.
This ain't about me.
That's
This
the
about
only reason
you.
we got up in the morning.
Yeah.
That is the only reason we got up and left and came here for y'all.
That's
But
that's what
this is
drives
but
y'all.
but this is the hard part. that 18, 19, 20, 21, damn near till you're 30, they don't get this part. At some point, the basketball is going to stop bouncing.
No matter who you are.
At
Yeah.
some point, you're not going to be able to dunk anymore. At some point, somebody's going to be faster than you, and you're not going to be able to step and slide the way you could before. At some point. And at some point,
Mm.
basketball is not going to, fuck being fun, you're just not going to want to do it anymore.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Your back's going to hurt.
Yo, everything
You might
gonna hurt.
you might rupture your Achilles.
Mm.
You might
It's
have to
not.
have a hernia surgery. You might start having kids. You might have 2 full-time jobs and own a
Yep.
business yourself. You're not gonna have time to put the ball in the basket anymore.
Yeah.
Nope.
What you gonna do then? Who are
What do
you
you
gonna be
do?
then?
There it
Who are you,
is. Who are
who are
you
you
then?
gonna be then?
Yep.
All this adversity and bullshit you gotta deal with. Who you gonna be when that shit come calling?
Listen,
Yeah.
we rapping on that. We rapping on that. It don't get no harder than that. The reality of the situation don't get no harder than that. Like let's just be completely honest. Like that is what coaches are the multiple levels with these kids are trying to get them to be able to understand at the end of the day. The real coaches. We're not talking about these frauds and
Yeah.
whatever. We talking about the ones that's like has the mentoring piece. Who are you when the ball stops bouncing? It don't get no harder than that, man. Listen,
Yeah. It's that. It's
coach,
that.
we appreciate you once again, man. Listen, drop your
Pleasure.
IG so the people can follow the journey because I know a lot of times you put stuff on
Yeah.
IG. You know what I mean? You've live streamed the
Yes, yes,
game.
yes.
And you know what I mean? As much as I support you, I want other people to support you in these boys too, man. You done had some real talent come through. You done helped some guys get to places that they wouldn't have got to on their own, even with the talent. I ain't gonna name no name because I don't want, you know what I mean, put nobody out there. But you know a couple of kids I'm talking about right off rip. You hear me?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. We at TriState Prep for Postgrad. You can just put at TriState Prep, the blue one, not the red one. See, everything is blue, the blue one. Just at TriState Prep on Instagram. Actually, it's at TriState Prep for everything. Listen, man, it's always a pleasure. Um, I just want to help God succeed, man. You know,
Yeah.
from West Philly, and I'm just trying to make sure some guys see some other parts of the country that's not on the East Coast.
Amen to that. I can respect that. Like that's what it's
That,
really
that
all
that's what it
about.
boils down to, man. It's a big world. It's a big world out there, man.
Yeah, it's
And
more out
we
here
got
than
to
you
get
know what
to it.
environment you from,
We
and a
got
lot
we
of
got
these
to get
kids.
to it, man.
Yeah, these
We
kids
got we
become
got to
products of their environment, so we got to get them out of that. And
And bef-
got to
again,
get
like
to
I
it.
said, yeah, that come from you having mentoring and passing that along. Very imperative. Provide resources for these kids when you can, and doing the best you can. Like, but they
that's
got
a
to want
fact.
it, like y'all said. So
And before we let you go, Juan, man to man, I'ma say it on wax, bro. I'm proud of you, man. Listen,
Appreciate it. Appreciate
dudes like you, dudes like Reg, I have to give y'all flowers. Y'all have gone certain places with coaching that I have not gone yet, and that might not even go,
yeah,
right? But y'all pretty much came in after me. You feel me? We
you.
all
Niggas,
like, and we and
don't call age.
we all was figuring out a lot of this shit together. Like,
came at the same time.
you know what I'm saying?
Time.
Like,
Yes.
so I appreciate that, you know what I mean? Um, through our ups and downs as men, coaches, whatever, that we back at this point, that we at this point where we're fighting the fight together, where whatever level each of us are on or not on or whatever we're doing, we can support each other, bro,
Yeah,
and
Absolutely.
just, always root for each other. Because at the end of the day, we always wanted the same thing, yo. For real,
Absolutely.
for real. So
Absolutely.
once
Absolutely.
again, man, much blessings and success with what you got over there at Tri-State, man. Like I said, I'm
Appreciate
saying it again. I'm proud of you, bro, man. I love you. I
it. Thank you.
appreciate you
Appreciate
coming
it.
through and blessing the podcast. It won't be the last time,
absolutely.
y'all. Y'all going to see him again. You know what I'm
I
saying?
will be back. I enjoy the podcast energy. I'm feeling it.
Oh, thank
Listen,
you.
that's mission accomplished. We wanted to make you
That
feel at home,
yes,
bro.
yes.
I'm feeling it. I just need to say one thing. and we can get out
You
of
got
here.
the floor.
Go ahead. You got it.
I gotta say, rest in peace to my man, my young boy Willie, my young boy Will, and I gotta say, rest in peace, my heart, my baby, Hiram. We
Mm.
miss y'all,
Boo, we
and
miss y'all, man.
I hope y'all ain't fighting in heaven. I hope
I
I
swear I'm
hope
not the only
I hope
person
y'all
that
ain't
said
playing one
that.
on one fighting in heaven. I really hope y'all not, cause Hiram hate to lose.
Oh
I
That's
know they
man,
that's
gotta be
that's
funny
all
to
that's
you.
all I wanted to say, man. And
I
and
know they
thank
that
gotta
you.
was
I
be funny.
appreciate
good.
the opportunity tonight,
That
y'all.
was
Thank you.
good.
Nah, man.
No, thank you for
Glad we
coming on.
finally
We
was able to
appreciate
make
you.
it happen, bro. We
Yeah,
Absolutely,
appreciate you.
absolutely,
drop them gems tonight. We appreciate that.
absolutely.
On behalf of A.C.E, that's our brother, that's who we always be. On behalf of me, the goddess, as Coach Juwan said, man, in dedication and in memory of William Grant Jr., Hiram Hill Jr., H. Boot, you know what I mean? Lump. And of course, on behalf of your favorite coach, stay safe and stay dangerous. Be patient. That includes with yourself. Be respectful, man. Be kind to as many people as you possibly can. I know some people make it impossible, but that's fine. Be kind to those who will allow it. But most importantly, y'all, be kind every day to yourselves. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to catch y'all on the next one. All right? We are up out of here.